7:30 a.m., outskirts of a Brazilian city. Makeshift brick shack with unbarred windows. Police teams surrounded the structure in silence. 4 squad cars positioned strategically blocking all escape routes. 9 armed officers. Radio communication kept at minimum volume. Objective: rescue victim held captive for over 48 hours. Inside the shack, kidnappers thought they were safe. Isolated location. Neighborhood that didn't ask questions. Simple structure, allowing surveillance of main entrance. And they had weapons. They had victim. They thought they had control. They didn't. Police knew exactly where they were. Intelligence had tracked communications. Victim's family cooperated, providing information about ransom negotiations. Teams spent entire night mapping area, identifying entry points, counting how many people were inside. Time to act had arrived. Officer identified as João led operation. Experience in rescues. Knew behavioral patterns of kidnappers under pressure. New invasion moment would be critical. Either everything would end in seconds, or situation could turn into hostage scenario. Signal was given. Team advanced. The door was kicked in with a single precise strike. The old wood gave way immediately. João entered first, weapon in position, eyes scanning the environment quickly. Main room, empty. Improvised furniture, cold cement floor, smell of mold and old food. 2 internal doors, one to the left, one to the right. The team split up. 3 officers went left. João and 2 others went right. First door, locked from the outside. Clear sign. The victim was there. João kicked the lock. The door opened. Inside, the victim sitting on the floor, hands tied, eyes wide with fear mixed with relief. Victim, 48 years old, kidnapped 3 days earlier. Police, you're safe now. He couldn't speak, just cried. But the operation wasn't over yet. The kidnappers were still inside the house. A scream came from the other room. Police! Police! The kidnapper had noticed the invasion. Panic took over. Another voice shouting confused orders. Sound of objects being thrown. Running footsteps. Yet the team on the left entered the second room. 2 men desperately trying to open the back window. One held a .380 pistol. His hands were shaking. He didn't know whether to shoot, flee, or surrender. Drop the weapon! On the ground! The decision was made in a split second. The kidnapper threw the .380 on the floor and jumped through the window. Landed badly on the other side. Got up stumbling. Ran toward the low wall that divided the shack's lot from the neighboring property. Then the other kidnapper tried to follow. He also jumped through the window, but the officers were already surrounding the outside area. Stop, or we shoot! The first kidnapper ignored it. Managed to jump the wall, disappeared into the narrow alleys of the favela. He knew the terrain. He had the advantage. The second hesitated, stopped, raised his trembling hands, surrendered. João coordinated over the radio. Victim rescued, secure. 1 suspect arrested, another fleeing. We'll request area lockdown. Patrol car 9573 responded. Received. Sealing the area.
O indivíduo aqui se evadiu, pulando os muros aí, deixou uma 380 pra trás aí, certo? É, sim, tem
The victim was carefully removed from the hideout. Paramedics were already waiting. They checked vital signs. mild dehydration. Wrist injuries where the ropes had been tied for days. Emotional state shaken, but no serious injuries. The family had been notified. The mother arrived running 10 minutes later. Long embrace, intense crying. The relief of someone who thought they would never see their family again. Inside the shack, the forensic team began their work, photographing everything, collecting evidence. The .380 pistol abandoned during the escape was seized. Serial number scratched off. Probably a street weapon, used in other crimes before. Cell phones were found, messages between the kidnappers, conversations with the family negotiating the ransom amount. They demanded 50,000 Brazilian reais. The family didn't have it. The kidnappers were beginning to lose patience. They planned to increase the pressure. The operation arrived at the right moment. So the arrested kidnapper was identified. Marcos, 32 years old. 3 prior records: robbery, drug trafficking, receiving stolen goods. Never arrested for kidnapping. First time. It would be the last. During interrogation, he said he was just visiting a friend. Confronted with the evidence, he changed his version. Said he only kept watch. Didn't participate in the initial kidnapping. Just stood guard while others negotiated. The story convinced no one.
Vamos sequestro, Vai pegado. Onde que é?
The kidnapper who fled had a name: Diego, 27 years old, known in the region, involved in drug trafficking, history of violence, considered dangerous. Police intensified the search. Roadblocks set up at the main access points of the favela. The intelligence team began monitoring possible hideouts. Diego didn't show up at home, didn't contact family, didn't use his cell phone. He was hiding. An anonymous tip came 4 days later. Diego was at an accomplice's house in a neighboring area. A search warrant obtained. New operation mounted. This time, there was no escape. Surrounded by 8 officers, he surrendered without resistance. He knew it was over. Marcos and Diego were indicted for extortion through kidnapping, false imprisonment, and criminal conspiracy. Combined sentences could reach 30 years. The victim spent weeks in psychological treatment. The trauma of 3 days in captivity left marks. Fear of going out alone, recurring nightmares, anxiety attacks. The family offered support. Treatment helped. Slowly, life returned to normal. The investigation revealed more details. It wasn't a random kidnapping. But Diego knew the victim's routine. He had studied it, planned it, knew the family had a small business, thought they had money saved. Wrong information that almost cost an innocent person's life. The operation was considered a success. Rescue without shots fired. Victim recovered alive. Criminals arrested. Weapons seized. Clean result. But João knew the truth. Success depended on factors that are not always present. Accurate information, well-trained team, quick decision at the right moment, and luck. Always luck. If the raid had happened minutes later, Diego could have hurt the victim. If it had happened minutes earlier, the team wouldn't have been in position. The timing was perfect by chance. Kidnapping is a cowardly crime. Kidnappers choose vulnerable victims. They think terror guarantees payment. They calculate that the family will pay any amount. They forget that police are also working. That intelligence tracks communications. What that specialized teams exist exactly for this type of crime. And when the door is kicked in at 7:30 in the morning, when a weapon is pointed and a voice shouts, "Police!" courage disappears. The plan collapses. The weapon is thrown to the ground. The desperate escape begins. As always happens when criminals choose the wrong target, when they underestimate investigative capability, when they think terror guarantees impunity. 7:30 a.m. Shack surrounded. Door kicked in. Victim rescued. Kidnappers in panic. Result: justice prevailed. This time.